In this video, we're going to go through the root causes of hair loss, both in men and women. If you have any questions, please make sure to leave them in the comment.
Yes, so the reason why we are losing hair is that the follicles are getting damaged. Once follicles are getting damaged, there's a lot of factors that could actually damage your follicles, including aging process, hormonal changes, medications, or even androgenic on the genetics. It happens both in men and women, so I don't really want to differentiate whether it's you are man or woman, because it all happens to your follicles biologically. Once your follicles are getting damaged, the hair attached to it get thinner, and they shrink. And if we don't really treat the follicles, the hair will eventually die and the follicles will become dead, and that's how you lose your hair.
So some of the more common causes of hair loss in both men and women. Let's look at the men initially, because as most of us know, the greatest majority of hair loss victims, if we can use that term, are us men. And that's due to our hormones, which I mentioned before, the androgenic hormones, mainly testosterone, that metabolizes into dihydrotestosterone, which is damaging to the follicles. So we have that in the males. We have illnesses. Diabetes can accelerate hair loss. Stresses, which are more difficult to explain, but we produce a lot more cortisol during stress and during stressful times, either physiological stress, meaning cold or disease states, or emotional stress accelerates hair loss. Interestingly enough, some emotional stress, when the emotional trigger is rectified, if you will, a lot of these people will regrow their hair again when they lose the stressors that cause the hair loss to begin with. Others, cancer for sure can cause hair loss, even without chemotherapy or radiation. Sun damages are another. And anything really that one of the major things that keeps our hair healthy is a good blood supply. So anything that's diminishing that blood supply through the vascularity, and that again could go through the metabolic diseases, as we mentioned, like diabetes or cancer. Immunosuppressants can do the same thing. And so those are the main that can affect both men and women. Women, of course, without the production of the larger amount of testosterone, do not, by definition, suffer from androgenic hair loss. Theirs more commonly will suffer alopecia areata, which is a kind of an autoimmune process that causes hair loss in females. Another one that I didn't mention in females in particular, but both male and females, is called traction alopecia. That's a fairly simple concept. That it's a mechanical pulling of, if you will, of the roots or the scalp of the head. Women, for example, that wear extensions and clip onto the hairs and may clip close to the scalp will give a traction or pulling of the hair from the scalp. Braided, tight braids can cause traction or pulling alopecia, which again, much of this goes back to the blood supply and strangulating the blood supply to the scalp and then injuring those follicles. In addition to flat irons that a lot of women use that get too close to the scalp and literally cook, if you will, the follicles. So that's kind of the term of traction alopecia.
So there are several options that you can take in order to protect your hair. For instance, there's some PRP treatment, which is platelet-rich plasma, comes from your blood, and we collect plasma that contains some stem cells and other growth factors that can actually stimulate your hair follicles for your better hair health. Also, in order to protect your pre-existing hair, you can go on medications such as finasteride for men and the minoxidil for women. But however, those are only for to protect your pre-existing hair. If you already have lost your hair follicles, only option is to do the surgery to put new follicles there. So FUE or FUT surgeries are the only option for the permanent solution.